Well, here we are. We are on not Super Bowl Sunday. This is Stirring the Pot Sunday. We are two interviews deep today, baby. This is Stirring the Pot with Don Kincaid and my very special guest, CJ Price. What's up, my man? How you doing?
Yo, 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 what's going on, Doc Kincaid?
Uh, Dude, I went back in the archives. Good, my friend. But I went back in the archives. We haven't talked to each other since late September of 2019 at NEWS, my friend. That's the last time we have spoken. So it's been a while.
Almost 2 years. Almost two
Yeah.
years.
So first off, obviously it has been a while. A lot of shit going on with all of the crap out there. Yourself, your circle, family, and all of that. You guys are good through the virus crap we have.
My dad had COVID when it first began,
Oh
and
wow,
I was down and out for about 5 days, man. It's no joke. COVID's no joke, man.
wow. We were my family. We had one person that had it. My daughter and her husband were going through a little tough times. So we've had a little trying to kick out at two, if you will.
Okay.
So I'm glad to see that yourself is doing well. Your dad, is he doing well?
Yeah, we're all recovered now. I got my vaccine. I got both doses because I work at a healthcare facility, so I was one of the first ones to get the vaccine for COVID.
Oh
And I got
wow.
both shots. And let me tell you, man, the second dose is no joke, man. That shit kicks your ass.
That's what they've been saying. The second dose is a doozy, man.
Yeah, man. It makes your bones hurt and your body achy and but it's only like 24 hours after that you should be fine.
All right. Uh, well, I'm glad to see you're doing better. Very good to hear. Now, again, we haven't spoken in well over a year here. What has CJ Price been up to? Because if I'm not mistaken, and I got a shitty memory, we all know that I'm not very bright at all. You know that personally. Um, if I'm not mistaken, the last time we talked, you were talking retirement, like wrestling was gonna be a different part of your life. Like it was getting, it was being pushed to the side. You were gonna be focusing on other things. Where are you at in wrestling right now? Because in all honesty, I'm gonna be fully transparent right here, boys and girls. It's very surprising to hear from CJ Price because I thought he retired from wrestling. So where are you at with wrestling right now, my friend?
I did retire from wrestling. I believe it was October of last year at MAW Thrills and Chills. I went against Brother Greatness in a wheelchair match. That was my last match ever, and I haven't been in a wrestling ring since. I still watch wrestling. I still support wrestling 100%. I love independent wrestling, and I still, keep in contact with some folks that still wrestle.
Okay.
Um, I'm not gonna lie, I do have that itch every now and then to get back in the ring, but I did wrestling for 10 years straight, no breaks. Um, every weekend, I wrestled for two companies, MAW, and MWMWA. I'm not sure if you remember that company. It's a little underground company, mostly backyarders. I don't care if people call me a backyarder. I know what I am. I never got into wrestling to become a big superstar. I got into wrestling because I love professional wrestling. But like I said, I do get the itch every now and then to come back. I have considered to come back, but then I think like, are other injuries worth it? The payday is not that great for my status. I know my status. Like I said, I never got into it to be a big superstar. But there's a lot of people out there that think they are a big superstar. And wrestling, independent wrestling, especially MAW status or any RFCW or WTF or any other of those companies, um, there shouldn't be huge politics in the backstage. It should be for fun, and it should be a launching pad to get to the next level.
Mm. And that's why I've always enjoyed the independent scene, in our area, because we get to see. And I was just discussing this with a fellow fan who's turned podcaster, Justin Del Rio. We were just talking about this topic, that's why we love the independents, because we get to see the talent. And me personally, I love seeing them start from the ground up, from day one, when they've gone through some training. They're going to start working some shows. I love being the honor and privilege of having either their first promo, being able to film their first match, have their first interview. I think the independents is that's why I love the independents, but I really love it from the very ground up. And a lot of people, they don't enjoy that end of it because they want to see polished wrestling already. I
Right.
don't mind. I don't mind where there's, oh, she shouldn't have done that, or oh my God, it looked like that. Why didn't she do that? Or man, she really botched that, or he really botched that, or what have you. I've never been like that. I enjoy watching it from the ground up, because then we get to see them, the talent blossom and grow into their own, and see where they go into their career. So yeah, and I didn't mean to be long-winded about that, but that for me as a fan, that's why I love the independents.
Right. But as me, as a wrestler, I don't consider myself a pro wrestler either because I didn't finish pro wrestling school. I did it for like 6, 7 months on and off. I went back here and there. I tried different pro wrestling schools, but I never finished officially. So I really don't consider myself a pro wrestler. I did it for fun. I never seriously injured anybody, thank God. I've been injured myself by other wrestlers. I'm not gonna name them because this is not the time or place to do that. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of politics backstage that really don't need to happen in independent wrestling. It's nonsense. It should be everybody should be supporting each other, trying to make money and trying to better themselves so they can make it to the big stage or wherever they want to go.
Excuse me. Now, when you got into when you got into wrestling, you were getting in the ropes and stuff. Your goal, which I pretty much you've already stated, you weren't looking to get to one of those higher platforms, especially because the WWE has been like the pinnacle for a very long time, until probably within the last decade or so. We've seen a flourishing of wrestling, and there's more choices on a
Right.
higher platform, if you will. So your goal when you were in wrestling wasn't really to be on one of those platforms. You were comfortable being an independent wrestler. That's pretty much where you were going to be, anyways, correct?
Correct. Correct. I realized really early on that getting to WWE or to TNA is going to be a huge task for me, and I accepted that. I accepted that for sure. I do have some medical conditions like asthma, so that affects me in the ring. So I can't really be the wrestler I want to be with shitty lungs.
Because then, as they say, you can get gassed out real quick, like in there. And when there's many pieces of the puzzle when you're in a match, being a wrestler, and one of them is the cardio end of it. And if you have shitty cardio, it comes off in your performance.
That's
So
correct.
I mean, you want all of the package to be presented so you can make yourself look good, make your opponent look good, let the fans have good times. We get to see good wrestling and such. So your limitations. That's
Right.
very evident. You personally know your limitations, where others, and I've talked about this, where music and wrestling do correlate together.
Mhm.
I've never perceived myself as Eddie Van Halen when I play guitar, because I am fucking not Eddie Van Halen by any stretch of the imagination. So whenever I've gone into a different setting, jamming with other guys, or hey, do you want to come and check it out because we need a guitar player? We're looking to get the band either to a different level, or taking it and getting gigs because we know you have some experience in the gigging. Why don't you come over here and check it out? And I've always told people, I'm no Eddie Van Halen, baby. I play rhythm. It's solid. If you want a guy who's really there in the rhythm section, and I do have a little bit behind the scene experience, I'm your guy. and I can do some singing. Believe it or not. Believe it or not, Carlos. I could do a little singing. So my point being though, is you know your limitations, and many kind of don't know their limitations, and they want to
Right.
be the Hulk Hogan's, and they want to be the Ultimate Warriors and such.
Don't
So
not even Hulk Hogan or Ultimate Warrior. Shawn Michaels. They want to be Shawn Michaels and so bad, and they can't. And I just believe some people need to get out of their heads and realize what the reality is. Is like they need to realize, like, think about it. Like, am I really gonna make it to the top doing what I'm doing here? That's what I want people to think about. But I really can't change people's minds or feelings.
so if I may ask though, because I started this when the virus hit, and my first episode for Skype interviews was March 22nd. I was doing face to face. Obviously, you were part of that. Previous. Now, why reach out? You're in retirement. You've kind of moved on from wrestling. Obviously, you're still a fan, because I don't think the fandom ever goes away as a wrestling fan. Why reach out for an interview? That's the curiosity has actually kind of killed me, because we've tried to
Because I
connect a
want
couple times earlier.
I want to clean this slate with some of the controversy that happened on Facebook about
Okay.
a year ago.
Yeah,
Um,
please. You know what? Use the platform as your forum. Take it away, my friend. Go ahead.
First of all, there. I want you to listen. I want you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm
It's
very
all right,
easily
man. It's all
distracted.
right. All right. So about a year ago, I made some Facebook post about some wrestlers or a wrestler, and a lot of RACW wrestlers thought it was about them. I'm not sure why they thought it was about them. I'm not sure why that got into their heads. I was just shooting on somebody that was local in my area, and you probably know him by the name of Jeremy Leary. I'm not scared to say his name because I'm not scared of him.
Okay.
I was shooting about him, trying to, because he's one of those guys that think he's bigger than what he really is. So I was shooting about him. I was not shooting about anyone in RSCW, period. If I had something to say, I will say it to their face. I wrestled in their same ring and in the same building that they did. So I'm no better than them, and they're no better than me. That's how I look at it, Don. And this is not a promo. This is not something that I came up with. This is the whole entire truth. I was shooting on Jeremy Leary, who thinks he's got what it takes to make it to the big times, and I don't think that. That's why I made those Facebook posts. But I don't know how or why RSCW, Kevin, Kevin, and Tiffany, and some of the other guys thought it was about them. Jeremy Leary also has a girlfriend by the name of Skylar. So I made a Facebook post about her as well. I'm not scared to say their names because I don't care. I'm not in the wrestling business anymore, and I'm not gonna return because of all the BS that happens backstage. I never claimed to be the best. I'm not too good for the business. I never claimed any of that. And I'm sorry if I offended anyone that thinks those posts were about them, because they were not. It was about Jeremy Leary and his girlfriend, and that's it.
Uh, I did not see that coming at all. Now you're clearing the air for the crew at the RICW. That's correct, right? What you
Yes.
just stated in the apology, that was for the RICW crew.
For anyone that was in the chop shop that thought those posts were about them, I do apologize. They were not about you. I'm telling you right now, as a man, they were not about you. So I do apologize if you guys think those words that I said on Facebook about a year ago were about you. They were not about you. They were not about you. Because if I had a
Uh,
problem with you, if I had a problem with those people, I will not step into a building where I didn't like people. I'm not a fake person. And you can ask anyone that's very close to me because they don't know me personally. They only know me through wrestling, and that's it. After wrestling, it was done. The conversations were done. They don't know me personally. And I trained with Jeremy Lawler in the past, so I kind of know how he is, and me and him had a couple words in the past. And if you don't believe me, you can ask him yourself.
Um, well, those are the things that that I personally like to stay away from. Like you were saying, that behind the curtain stuff. Uh, the fans, I feel, the modern era fan I speak about on the show, they think they know more than they really do. And I've never been one of those fans that thinks that. Again, back to that being Eddie Van Halen. I'm not that guy that knows everything in the business by any stretch of the matter. If I know anything, it's about that much of the business. So I've never perceived myself as such. But that's where I see I don't like to go behind those curtains and get into those things. And that's why, I've always been a neutral guy, if you've ever noticed, throughout anything I've ever done.
Yes.
So I appreciate that you reached out. First off, I do appreciate that because I was very surprised because I haven't heard from CJ in a while. But then the second thing, when I asked why you reached out, I did not see that coming. Again, boys and girls, you know me. I don't write. I don't write any questions. I don't do any research. We hit the record button and we just go for it and hope for the best that I don't fall off of some fucking ledge and piss off the talent. We've had a good time doing that formula, so I didn't expect
I'm not
that
trying to.
answer. No,
I'm not trying to
no,
ruin your show, man.
no. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying though is I did not expect that answer. This wasn't a setup. I didn't
Oh
see
no,
that
no.
coming. So what I'm driving at is our natural conversation with CJ Price. I did not expect that. So I appreciate you coming on and giving your open honesty, your candor, and just speaking the way you did. Though that's pretty much it. Had nothing to do with you trying to shit on my show or nothing like that. I did not want to make it seem like that. I appreciate you coming on and being honest and giving your candid thoughts is what I'm really
Absolutely.
driving.
Absolutely, 100%. That's how I always will be, and I always am. And the reason I blocked those people on Facebook is because they were harassing me and making fight threats. I'm not a person of violence. I solve things by talking, and that's why I blocked most of those people from the chop shop, and most of them unfriended me, and that's okay. They have that right to do that. I'm not gonna lose sleep over that. Facebook doesn't phase me. People can unfriend me all they want. They can block me all they want, but they don't know me personally.
Mhm.
All I care about is my family and my girlfriend that care about me. As long as those people are in my life, that's what I care about.
So you did mention that you and every so often you get that little itch, but getting back in it, you feel that the behind the scenes thing is what really stopped you from getting back into the ring more than anything else. Is that fair to say?
I 100% agree with that. Yes, it's the backstage BS that happens in independent wrestling that doesn't need to happen. I don't know why it happens. I don't know why people politic backstage. I don't know why people try to be besties with the promoter and try to push themselves and their friends. Like that doesn't need to happen. It doesn't need to happen. It should. Everybody should have a fair shot. Even the wrestler that is trying to learn or having a difficult time having a good match, you should try to help that person instead of shitting on their work.
Now, as you've been out of the business, if you will, you said you still watch wrestling and such. Now, when you're watching wrestling, and I know there's tons of it to try to soak in. But I want to focus on the immediate local independent stuff. Being the Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey kind of stuff that's been going on around us, even up into Maine. Do you watch and keep your eye on that stuff, or are you like more of the TV stuff, or where you at in wrestling when you're watching it?
I watch everything, man. Everything, everything, everything. Believe it or not, I'm on YouTube a lot of the time, and I'm researching the upcoming stars, people you never heard of, local talent. I watch it all because I want people to succeed. Look at AEW. AEW Dark has a lot of local talent, and
Mhm.
I appreciate that AEW is doing that so people can get exposed and probably get signed somewhere else if AEW doesn't work out for them. You know what I'm saying? If Ring of Honor, one of the Ring of Honor scouts watches Layla Hirsch get wrestle, let's say Ring of Honor wants to pick her up because AEW didn't pick her up. It's
Mhm.
exposure. We need more of that. I wish WWE did that too. That would be great.
Yeah, they did the NXT thing, obviously, which is their proving ground or training grounds, if you will, before you get onto the main roster, or that's their setup. But yeah, I definitely feel that, because especially for us fans, CJ, I gotta really say, for us fans to see some of the familiar faces that we've seen on the independent scene get onto the AEW Dark, on that platform, and they're going against the AEW roster. And we're talking, it started off as like three matches, if you will. When they very
Yeah.
first started Dark, it was basically Shivani showcasing three matches and doing like an in studio thing. Now it's changed to where it's its own show. This thing
Yep.
is like 15 matches. It's 2+ hours long. They get to showcase so much local talent. And again, us fans, I am effing loving it because we get to see so many familiar faces.
I love it because people get their opportunity, man. Hopefully they get signed and become big superstars.
Yeah.
That's what I want honestly, that's what I want for everyone that tries to get an opportunity. Not to stay stuck in the same place for 5, 10 years.
Hmm.
You're not gonna progress in wrestling if you're staying stuck in one place.
You said Layla Hirsch, which is a fine example. For those that don't know who Layla Hirsch is, get out there and look up her name. Powerhouse, man, an insane
Yes.
powerhouse. But she was on the indie, started, you know, doing the smaller places and whatnot. Then she ended up on a few shows with Beyond, and she did some bang up matches over there, even against the males, if you will, the male wrestlers. Then out of nowhere, dude, whenever I seen AEW picked her up for an AEW Dark, I was like, "Are you effing kidding me? Holy
Look what
crap!"
happened.
And
Look what
yeah,
happened.
and then bam, bam, bam. Look at this. We're talking like two or three matches deep, Layla and Dark, and now she's getting like title shots,
Yep.
and stuff like that. I mean, holy crap! And it's not even about the title, and we all know it's really not about the title. It's just about
No.
the exposure, like you're saying. It's about the exposure, shining your skill, shining your brand, because you're your own salesman, you're your own marketing. I mean,
Right.
who else better to do it than yourself? So to be in a high profile match with a champion in any type of promotion that gets a good spotlight, I mean, Layla Hirsch, I feel so much warmth for her because of
Right.
how she rose, to where she is
Yes.
now.
Same thing with Bear Country.
Yeah,
There's a lot of
absolutely.
examples. There's a lot of
I
examples
mean,
that I can say.
yeah, I mean the names go on and on. And you bring up Bear Country. We were just talking about uh, Bear Country on the fan roundtable last night.
Mhm.
Well, yesterday afternoon. I get like half a dozen fans together, and then we get a special guest come in, and it's usually a referee, ring announcer, or a wrestler, or even a promoter. And we'll just get a special guest in, and I never tell the guys who it is, so it's a surprise, and we have fun. But we were talking about Bear Country, and you just reminded me of the beefcake days, because we got on a little bit of a beefcake topic. Man, that guy is the biggest dude of biggest dudes. I swear to goodness, wearing a title speedo, doing this crazy gimmick stuff, having fun. Like the baby face stuff you do with the fans, and then all of a sudden, man, that dude flipped a switch, and holy shit,
Yes.
he's a killing machine, and he's a mauling bear. Wow. Talk about the evolution. We talk about this on the show. Evolution of character. Wow, what an evolution of a character from Beefcake to Bear Boulder.
It's a great transformation, and I'm so proud of them that they're getting their time to shine. And hopefully they get signed. I'm not sure if they're signed yet, but hopefully they do.
you know, you see these guys and girls like we're speaking of, and it's just really cool time over probably the course, you know, with NXT, obviously, then AEW came up and now they're doing their thing, and
Mhm.
NWA came out. We see some familiar faces when they were running Power regularly. I just think it's a really cool time, even though with the virus that's going on, as a wrestling fan, we're still getting plenty of product, you know?
I agree, and I'm proud, and I'm so happy that they're still continuing wrestling even with the COVID thing. Hopefully, fans get back into the arena soon. I would love to see that because fans are what make the show good. Real reactions and real cheers, real boos. I love that. That's what makes wrestling.
And if there's anything we love to do, boys and girls, to one CJ Price is boo the piss out of him when he comes out of the curtain. Love to boo CJ Price. Yes, sir. Uh, uh, so we were talking about no fans and waiting for fans to come back. WrestleMania is going to be split
Yeah.
up into two separate nights again, like they did this past WrestleMania. Not only that, they're talking like 25,000 fans
Yes, yes.
in
What do you think of
arena.
that? What do you think of that?
You know, I see shows, independent shows, that are even right now from the beginning that we're trying to really still push it. And we're packed houses, but got shit on. And they kind of pulled back and started doing the separated seating and such, what, you know, like they were supposed to or whatever. But I still see shows that are really jam packed, my man. And I go, I don't know if I'm gonna go to one of those because most people in there, and I'm not pro mask, I'm not anti mask. I'm pro life. I just want to fucking survive. That's all
Right.
that's what I'm pro. You know what I'm saying? So if I gotta wear a mask to go to the store, to go, you know, whatever the case may be, I'm gonna wear the mask and I want to do the right thing or whatever. But going to these events, and I see a lot of them are packed with basically 75% aren't wearing masks. It just makes my mind a little bit twisted the way things are nowadays. It makes you think a little bit more. So
Okay.
to buy a ticket for WrestleMania with 25,000 fans, I don't know what they're going to do with this thing because it's in Tropicana Field. I get that it's a big event, a big
No,
venue.
actually, they're gonna do it at the Raymond James Stadium,
Oh,
WrestleMania.
okay, okay. My bad. Corrected. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Now I know. I don't know, man. I don't know what they're going to do, how they're going to do it. Because I'm going to use an example if I could. NAWA Wrestling made their return. North American Wrestling Alliance. I can never
Okay.
remember that for some reason. They made their return, and they did their first event not that long ago, a couple months back, if I'm not mistaken, down in Florida. Now they're going to be doing a traveling show from different states. Okay. Now they went
I got
into a
allergies.
giant.
I got allergies. Excuse me. I got allergies. I gotta blow my nose, man.
Oh no, go ahead. You do you. We,
All right,
we,
I'm good now. I'm good
yeah,
now.
we don't want boogers on your camera. That's what we don't want. We don't want boogers on.
I apologize.
So no, that's quite all right. So my point being is they were in a big, like civic center setting, but you know there was a few hundred people, and they were so scattered, just like AEW does. The people that they are bringing in now as fans, very scattered. Where the hell do you scatter 25,000 people? Is being my point of this long-winded answer.
Well, it's a 90,000 seat arena, so I'm pretty sure they can do it. And I heard they were gonna try to do like pods. Put people in pods.
Oh, wait, like little separated kind of gigs, like little
Yeah,
cubicle kind of
yeah,
deals.
yep.
Huh. Wow.
That's
Interesting.
what I've read. I'm not sure if that's gonna be what's gonna go on, but it'll be interesting to see what they're gonna do.
Well, the closer we get to WrestleMania Day, I'm sure we'll be seeing the media putting some stuff out. I can't wait now.
Yeah, man.
That's
Yeah,
gonna be
man.
interesting. They're gonna give us some kind of cryogenic fucking setup to be all chilled up and to watch WrestleMania. Now, speaking of the WWE and such, when you are watching wrestling, What and I know you said that you watch all sorts of wrestling. What is your go-to though? When you sit down, is it YouTube for indies or whatever, or highlights, or do you turn it on to rewatch Raw or whatever? What do you go to?
WWE Network, because almost everything I like is on there.
Oh,
Especially like the old school Raws, the old school SmackDowns. I watch Sunday Night Heat. I watch the pay-per-views. I watch stuff from the 80s. I watch stuff from the 70s. I watch independent wrestling. I watch it all, man. But yeah,
uh,
mostly WWE Network. I like to watch documentaries as well.
okay. Uh, a fine one just came out about Yokozuna.
I
Uh,
love that. That was
yeah.
great. That was
And
awesome.
speaking of which, now the WWE network obviously has a chock full of vault, if you will, and you get to go back to the yesteryear of WWE into the WWF days, and more. Because Vince has got a lot of money and he buys a lot of things, so you get even more on that network. But the current product, let me flip that over, because on the network, you would almost think, and I know there's TV deals set in play and such, but you would think you could get Raw and SmackDown and such a little bit earlier than they offer on the network, because it takes a while for you to actually get Raw and SmackDown on the network.
Mhm.
But now they're going in to a relationship with Pluto TV, or not Pluto
Yep.
TV,
No, Peacock.
Peacock, Peacock, and things are going to change, but they say they're not going to change. For the most part, there's going to be some changes here. That is going to be an interesting ride. Uh,
There's one major change. It's not gonna be available on the Fire Stick, and that's what I watch my network on. So I'm not gonna be able to watch network until they make some changes there. And I also heard that you can't rewind it or fast forward it when it's live.
oh, that stinks because I do that shit all the time. I do. I always want to rewatch it. That I'll be like, wait a minute, and I'll go back and then hit it back live and stuff. Oh, that's gonna stink. Oh,
Yeah.
that's bad news.
And there's two tiers too. One is gonna be for $4.99 with commercials, and one
Right.
with $9.99 without commercials.
Mm-hmm. Should be an interesting ride to see this transition happen. I tell you that.
Yes, and I'm not too happy about it, but I understand why. Mr. Man once made $1 billion off this deal. I would have sold it too.
uh, so staying on the WWE though, the current product. Are you tuning in to the Raws and the Smackdowns and such?
I watch Raw and SmackDown. There's some things that I don't like. There's a lot of things I don't like actually, but I watch it because I like certain wrestlers that I want to see wrestle, like Cesaro. I love Cesaro. I
Oh,
love Daniel
love
Bryan. I love Daniel Bryan. Um, I like I like Braun Strowman. I like Roman Reigns because of his character now. His character is amazing. And he's a good storyteller as a heel, so I like watching Roman Reigns. I like
Mhm.
watching Drew McIntyre because he used to be a jobber and now he's a big superstar. Um, so yeah, I like watching a lot of those guys. But some of the storylines they do are pretty wacko. Yeah, pretty wacko. Like the 24/7 title is that's stupid to me. I'm sorry. And Raw Underground, I'm so happy that's done. That was a waste of time.
What Raw Underground? The only word that I can attach to Raw Underground is why. That's the only thing I can say for that. I didn't get it when the media were talking about it, and Shane is going to change this, change the way Raw is being presented, and all of this shit. And I'm like,
Hmm.
when I ever saw it the very first time of Raw Underground, I'm like, what the fuck is
Yeah,
this?
every time I watched it, I was like, "What the fuck?" I remember the first time they did it, they had the girls on a dancing pose,
Yeah,
and they got rid of that.
yeah. After the very first episode, mind you. Yeah, man. WWE, and I know there's still quote unquote, if you will, the juggernaut of wrestling. So you can't. I guess you can't experiment without failing. You know, you've got to try some stuff. And I know we as fans, and again, me, I just did it right there. Question is, why would you do that? But you know what? It's all about trial and error with anything, and wrestling. I mean, you're always trying to do something different, because where do you go from? I mean, where do you go from here? I mean, everything has been kind of already done, and what do you do differently in all of this stuff? You know?
I guess you can recycle some ideas and try to make it in a different way, I guess.
Mm.
I don't know, but WWE is kind of predictable to me. I already know what's gonna happen. So
Mm.
sometimes they do surprise me a little bit with Christian returning. That was a little surprising.
That was fun.
And I know a lot of rumors were going around with Carlito coming back, and he finally came back. He's in phenomenal shape, bro. He's in phenomenal shape, and I hope he gets another chance.
Absolutely. You know, they're putting him on TV and such, so hopefully we see him cycle on the TV, get some storylines going for Carlito. See some apple being spit in people's faces, because
I doubt it. I doubt it with COVID, bro.
I know that's just wishful thinking, though. So the WWE product, obviously, that's your go-to. Now there's so much out there. Uh, Now New Japan, you've got going on, and then you have AEW going on, NAW, or NWA rather. They're still trying to give you a little something, something. MLW, I won't, you know, they're one of the ones that are putting out a lot of product on a regular basis.
Mhm.
They're still doing it now. They brought back their TV show called Fusion. I don't know if you watch MLW stuff at all.
I do. I do. I gotta
Uh,
watch my bro. I have to watch Brian Pillman Jr. even though I can watch him on AEW sometimes. I watch Davey Boy Smith. I like Myron Reed. He's a great talent.
yeah. Leo Rush coming in, making his
Yep.
return to the
Yep.
scene. Took that weird little hiatus that he had going on between the WWE
I
music.
love the Von Erich. The Von Erichs are awesome.
Oh, and can we stop there? And I know you said Von Erichs, and that fucking shit triggers me. Now, I've spoken about this. Is I grew up on the AWA with the Freebirds. I mean WCW, WCCW, AWA era, NWA stuff. And I'm telling you, when it was WCCW and it was Von Erichs versus the Freebird type shit,
Mhm.
I would be glued to the TV. So to see Kevin Von Erich bring his sons in, and not only that, but one of them is actually very mimicking his fighting style. Even the way he throws that punch of
Yes.
his and swings the leg and doesn't wear any shoes. Oh my God, CJ! Whenever I started seeing these kids in the ring at MLW, I lost my ever loving shit. I popped and popped and popped. Not only that, though, the way the crowd reacts, it's almost like the WCCW days, like old school crowd reactions. They lose their minds when they come out.
I agree, man. I love the Von Erichs. I think they're going to be a huge tag team in the future. They're already on the rise, and I think um, MLW better lock them down before WWE steals them or
Uh,
AEW.
yeah, hey, you never know, because again, we have so many avenues to choose from nowadays. It's not just one company, kind of with that. And I hate to use the word stranglehold on it, but it was WWF. That was it. You know,
Yes.
I mean, and I hope I don't get monetized for saying WWF.
I wanna say one thing about AEW. I enjoy the product. I like a lot of their wrestlers on their roster. The only thing I don't like about AEW is their matches are like indie matches, like spot, 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 and they kick a lot of false finishes. I don't like that because it makes their finisher look weak. If I give you five finishers, my finisher is gonna look weak. Um, if I give you 10 false finishes, it's not gonna matter at the end who wins or who loses because that to me means like why you like I don't know how to explain it. Like you know
No,
what I
no,
mean, right?
I know exactly what you mean. You're not the only one that's expressed that on this show. As the talents have come on here, they have reiterated exactly what you've said. I mean, absolutely.
I that's how I feel. WWE sometimes have those type of matches, but their matches have a storytelling behind it. They actually sell. They don't just do a move after a move after a move after a move. You know what I
I,
mean?
you know, I actually think my family are getting sick of me when they watch wrestling with me because it's like when I see some dude take a Canadian destroyer and jump right up on his feet and start being wobbly, I'm like, what in the fuck just happened there, dude? Why are you not laid out all fucked up? Or you know what I'm saying? Like he,
Yes.
he you get a Canadian destroyer, you jump right up to your feet and you just start wobbling around like, wait, what the hell just happened right there?
That's just overreacting, and that's the stuff I'm talking about. That's just exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, like oh my goodness, holy shit. But yeah, but that's the evolution of wrestling, the modern fan, and wrestler itself. It happens, you know. I mean,
I agree, and I don't mind that type of wrestling every now and then, but if you do it every single match, every single time, it gets tiring, it gets boring, and it
yeah.
doesn't mean anything.
And I've said it on the show, is I feel nowadays the modern fan, for the most part, not all of us, but a lot of modern fans, they want to see so much kooky, crazy, aw shit, aw shock maneuvering that it's just like NASCAR. They're waiting for the fucking crash, bro. They just want to see somebody do something death defying. And I know we don't wish harm on our men and women in the ring, but it's like these fans, they're just looking for the next car crash.
I agree, and that's not what wrestling's about. That's never what wrestling was about. I hope it doesn't turn into that because that'll ruin wrestling. Then it's already ruined because kayfabe is dead. But why ruin it? The wrestling itself.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it the way it is.
Yeah, because I know, you know, obviously the word kayfabe is a weird thing in different circles, but you still are presenting that in ring ability, those skills, your craft.
Hmm.
So is you know you don't want to at least if it gets to hampering that, what's left? You know, I mean,
Exactly. And that's why I think wrestling fans, a lot of wrestling fans stop watching wrestling because of the stupid storylines and the wrestling is like acrobatics now. It's
yeah.
not wrestling, it's acrobatics.
Uh, you know, and I know all wrestlers start off as wrestling fans, but the more talent that I speak to, they say that they don't even watch the product that's out there. They'd rather watch the indie stuff and see what's like you were saying earlier about getting on YouTube, checking out maybe new product they haven't run into before, seeing new guys or girls coming up on the indie scene and such. They don't even watch the current product because they just can't take it no more.
I mean, it's pretty rough to sit through 3 hours of Raw.
And, and I'm not trying to sit here and say shitting on the WWE product. That's not what I do on the show. That's not what I'm talking about here. But when you present that, like you were saying, it gets to a point where it's the same. It gets so same that it's repetitive. And when you're running a 3 hour show and you're trying to keep it what the fans want, when they said that some years ago, if you remember correctly, they got into the
Yes.
ring. Stephanie, the Triple H, and the Big Kahuna, Uncle Vince, whenever they got into the ring and said, "We're going to give what the fans want," we're still waiting.
I'm still waiting, yes. And I don't think it's gonna come anytime soon because Vince is one of those guys, especially reading after reading a lot of articles about him throughout the years. He's a hard-headed guy, and it's
Yeah,
his way or no way, man.
yeah, and like I said, we're not. I'm not shitting on the product, but I'm just trying to, discuss of what we have as a current product.
Hmm.
Because that's what we should be looking at in general. Because if you're looking for the higher plateau when you become a wrestler, you got to look at the product and view the product to see what you're jumping into. Because and you've already we were discussing earlier, me and Mr. Del Rio, looking at a guy like AG. He's still AG, but he doesn't have the same name no more.
Right.
Now he's August Gray. So
And I love his story, man. He started off as a referee, and look where he's at now, man.
yeah, and he's touched many people within the industry, working his way up because when he got signed to NXT, and the announcement came out, all sorts of people, man, they came from
Yeah.
all over the place to congratulate him and such. And then they actually introduced him to us, the fans, on TV as Anthony Green, but then out of nowhere, poof, they turned him into August Gray. uh, but I use him as an example because he's very familiar to most people out of our area, if not everybody. And we got to see him again go from referee, evolve into a wrestler. Now he
Mhm.
went from a different gimmick. Obviously, you don't always say what your first gimmick. Maybe
Right.
some do, but most don't. And you evolve your gimmick over time. Then whenever he turned into that retro AG, holy F, did things totally change for him.
He blew up. He definitely blew up. I'm so proud of him. He might not know who I am, but I know who he is. I know he started off as a ref, and then he turned into a wrestler, and then he turned into retrosexual Anthony Green. That made him get signed and get looked at. And I'm so proud of that he's in NXT, and I hope big things for him in NXT.
Yeah, absolutely. We love to see our men and women succeed because you know firsthand, CJ Price, it's a very hard road to become first, to become a wrestler, and then to continue that path of being a wrestler. Very hard.
There's a lot of competition out there, man. There's hundreds and hundreds of students that want to become wrestlers. There's wannabes, there's has-beens, and there's up-and-comers. Um, Wrestling is one of those things that you have to have passion, heart, and hard work to make it. And an example I have is what's his name? He trains at Kevin Landry's Cannon.
Chris
What's his name?
Cannon.
I
Chris
think
Cannon.
that guy, look out for him, dude. He's gonna be on TV soon.
Uh, you mentioned his name. That triggers shit in my head because he's done 2 interviews, and I know he's had a very short career right now in his tenure. He's probably only been about a year and a half with the COVID, maybe around 2 years deep. And I know he has not very many matches under his belt. He's not afraid to do the drives, if you will, because he just yesterday performed up in Maine. So he's not afraid to do the drives. He went up to vacation land and debuted. And not only that, he had a rivalry going with one Nuka, and they turned that
F
into.
that guy. F that guy. F Nuka. Sorry.
I didn't see that coming. Wow, I did not did not see that coming at all. But they had a rivalry going, and they actually tag team last night. So
Okay.
that kind of took a weird spin for myself as a fan. But Chris Cannon, to get back to him, was he's only had 2 interviews, CJ Price, and for whatever reason, out of everybody on this planet, I'm the guy he's had 2 interviews with. I don't know how that has happened. The dude spooks the shit out of me because he won't do a Skype. I don't even think he knows how to use a damn thing. But he refuses to do a Skype interview. So I did travel to Kevin Landry's, and what we did for our second interview, for actually both of them, I went to Kevin Landry's. But for this last one we did, I want to say it was in September, this past September. We followed him as he did a full blown workout.
Yep. I saw
Holy
that.
shit. No, oh, really? I appreciate
Yeah.
that. That dude is no fucking joke, bro. So, yeah, for you to pick him out of many talents, absolutely. I am with you 1,000%. Watch out for Cannon, my man.
I agree, man. Cannon's gonna be something big. If he continues what he's doing, he's gonna be a big name from Western Mass. And
Yeah.
even if he doesn't like me, I'm still gonna be behind him 1,000%. Anyone that comes from my area and makes it big, man, I'm so proud of them because that represents our city and our area. And I think Chris Cannon's gonna be a big time guy.
I'm with you there 1,000%. We've spoken many topics, and I didn't even think we were going to be talking this long because I didn't know where in the world this was going to be going. Because again, CJ Price, he retired, and I'm thinking to
Mhm.
myself as this interview was coming up, what do I talk about? Not really sure. Let's kind of get the chit chat going, see where it goes. We've talked about a lot of topics. Is there anything that we haven't touched upon? Because obviously you reached out to get a little bit of honesty off of your mind. Is there anything we haven't touched upon or we haven't talked about that you would like to present?
If this COVID thing gets under control, um, I was thinking about maybe coming back and wrestling in some capacity, but not as a professional wrestler, not as in ring competition. Maybe as a referee, maybe as an announcer, maybe behind the scenes helping out younger wrestlers with their stuff. Giving them advice if I can. I want to be involved in the business in some capacity in the future if this COVID thing ever ends. Hopefully it does end because I want to be able to live a normal life, and I'm sure a lot of you watching, especially you, Duncan K, want to get back to a normal life, so we can go so we can go to wrestling events and rejoice.
Yes, we have to, and I know whatever normal becomes normal, it's still not going to be the way it was before. But give us something. We gotta figure a way to get back out there and have some fun because I am missing wrestling so much as all the fans, all the talent, and I know there are some companies doing their thing. They are getting the workers are getting some work, which is cool to see. Whatever we can get in, but man, whenever we can get to some kind of normal, I can't wait. Now, Mr. CJ Price, is there anything? And I know obviously you're not in wrestling, but is there anything in your life maybe that you're doing that you would like to plug, promote, or anything like that before we go?
I was doing a podcast called the Mark Outlaw Podcast. I'm not actively doing that right now
Oh,
because I don't have a co-host and I don't like to talk by myself.
okay.
But as soon as I find a co-host, I will go back to doing that. It's called Mark Out Loud Podcast. You can find it on Facebook, Spotify, Twitter, and mostly all the social media platforms. I don't think I have an Instagram for it. No, I don't. I don't have an Instagram. But Mark Out Loud Podcast. I give out gift cards sometimes. I talk about wrestling. If you want to come on it sometime, so we can talk about wrestling sometime, let me know.
Oh, wow. I would love that. That'd be. I don't know if you were just asking me, but I would love to be your guest. You probably weren't asking me, but that's okay.
No, I am asking you.
Oh no, I would absolutely love to come on your show. That would be good
Sounds
times.
good.
Uh, Mr. CJ Price, I really do appreciate you reaching out, getting reconnected here. Again, it's been like since September of 2019, catching up, putting out your honest thoughts, chit chat and wrestling. It's been a fine time, and I appreciate it, sir.
Anytime, man. Anytime. This probably won't be our last interview. Hopefully, we can catch
Okay.
up sometime down the road.
Yeah.
Hopefully, this COVID shit ends soon. Maybe we can reconnect in person. And like I said, if any of you guys got offended by my post from the Chop Shop, I deeply am sorry. I didn't mean no harm. I didn't mean anything like that. I was talking about Jeremy Leary, and that's it. That's
All
the
right.
whole truth.
Uh, the message, the message from one CJ Price. Again, appreciate your honesty. This is Stir in the Pot with Don Kincaid and my very special guest, CJ Price. Thank you, sir.
Anytime, man. Have a good time.